gamers, welcome to the Secret Levels podcast. Today, you know what? We're going to take a quick left here. We're going to go on a quick side quest. We got some guests in store for you.
I'm player 1, Toby.
I am player 2, Goobz.
And will our player 3 and 4 please introduce yourselves?
Okay, I'm player 3, Kevin.
I'm player 4, Peter, a.k.a. a duo for real. And Kevin and I are the Interstate gamers.
Hey, we all meet up together.
Yeah.
What is this, a crossover episode?
This is a major crossover episode.
Well, this is us talking shit over Twitter about who's going to win this raid-off.
Yeah.
Because we've this very intense war we've been having over social media that hasn't been so intense.
Super quantifiable.
I swear this war is going to carry on to 20XX.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we invited you guys on because we both just recently reviewed Mega Man X, and we wanted to see like how two different shows review a single video game and see like the steps and what they do differently. And I feel like we did entirely different reviews, but came to almost the same conclusion that the game is
Very close.
pretty good for the most part.
It's
Am I
pretty
right?
good. Yeah, we were talking a little bit about this off air, but I won't steal anyone's thunder here. But generally, you guys are the veterans, so you had just so much familiarity with the game and so much history with it. Whereas Kevin and I,
You guys are ex-virgins.
yeah, or Mega Man virgins overall. We never played any of them before.
Yeah.
And I do think this is a good one to start on. But because of that, we had that total new perspective. And but I do think at the end of the day, you're right, Toby, that we kind of did sort of come to similar conclusions, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah, especially like you said, two new gamers to it, and which I'm gonna call y'all out now. Y'all had a ringer on there. Y'all had a Mega Man X speedrunner on there.
Ooh, yeah.
So y'all brought some fire too with some of the knowledge and everything because y'all's damn ringer. What was his name again?
Matt.
Matt. Yeah.
I feel bad. I'm sorry,
Thrills.
Matt, if you're listening. I did not mean to forget. But do y'all have what y'all's total scores were by chance?
Oh,
I do. I have
Okay.
my breakdown here.
Cool. Good job, Pete. Way to be prepared.
Because you guys actually separate it into different categories and then do an average.
Right.
Whereas me and Goobz are lazy and just do an overall.
How pissed off we get in an overall. I like how you
Yeah,
guys
that's
break
it.
that down, though. You do, like, every part of the game, and you talk right through it. It's very, very interesting to listen to.
Yeah. Well, we don't do things halfway over here at the Interstate Gamers, because if we did that, we would be some other name that the joke totally died. So I'm sorry about that. But
You'd be the secret levels. We know.
I kind of wanted to say this for a long time, for as long as I've known your podcast, is that it's cool that we do the same thing, but we do it in different enough ways to where I don't feel like we're stepping on each other's toes too much. You know what I mean? Like our show is a little more like regimented. I mean, we still try to keep it lighthearted. Of course, we're not like I don't know.
Robots.
Yeah, we're not robots, but Mega Man.
Very close.
But we have our little structure and we go in the same order all the time. But then you guys are a little more goofy, a little more off the cuff, and you guys have. I actually really like the Rageometer. I like the Rageometer a lot.
Yeah.
I think we might have to steal that, maybe.
Well, you're going to have to ask my other podcast partner, Ripken, for the rights to that one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's the one that came up with it. He's like, y'all should do that because all we had originally was the rating system, and that was it. It was just like, all right, let's rate the game. So the rage meter was just
You can hear the progression.
yeah. So, but yeah, what are your three? Because y'all do 3 categories, correct?
Yeah. Pete can kind of break this down. He's kind of the one that came up with the system originally, and so we kind of because before we even made the podcast, he had come up with, and I should let him talk more about this, but I haven't said much, so
Take it away.
He had made basically you kind of broke games down into 3 basic categories. You basically went on one of your like tangents you kind of do on video games sometimes, where you just get really interested in like just these kind of things. I don't know what you would quantify it as, but you basically, you were like, okay, there's really only 3 things you can consider when like, talking about video games. You're like, okay, there's gameplay, and there's aesthetics, like visuals and audio. Aesthetics. And then content. And you were like, Kevin, like, can you name, like, I remember you asked me this. You said, Kevin, can you name like any other thing that you could talk about in regards to video games? I was like, honestly, not really. So it was a pretty good system.
No, I feel like it's a good, solid 3-part system. Like, I mean, it really, and it helps give y'all a better average, because when Goobz and I are doing it, which I still think our scores are fair, but it's the overall without like, it's not like y'all are picking the overall and then trying to divide it up to y'all's 3 categories. Y'all literally take the 3 categories and then just divide them together and get the average, which I think is probably more efficient.
Yeah,
but,
there's a smarter way to do it.
There have been times,
Let's be honest here.
There have been times though where, and I think Kevin has done this as well. He might actually do it more than I do, but there have been times where we kind of have a overall score in mind, and then we kind of work backwards. Like, what ratings could we distribute in a way that is fair, but still kind of gets us to this place? Like, we, like some of our best games, I think we kind of have an idea of how good they are, but then we think which part of the games are what point values. Does that make any sense? And we kind of work backwards. But sometimes, most of the time, I work forwards and get the average at the end. But every now and then, it's like you kind of know how you feel about a game, and you just got to work backwards from there.
Right. Well, see, on our total score of this game, Goobz gave Mega Man X an 8.5, and I gave it a 9. So our average is 8.75. And even after recording it and uploading it, the
are you gonna change your rating like after the show?
No, I'm not changing it. But I did. I thought about it. I was like, this is one of my favorite games. Why didn't I not give it a 9.5? Because I feel like it should have been one of my higher ranked games, because it is up there. But I'm still happy with a 9. But
you grew your hair long because of this game.
That's exactly. That's why I feel like
7.
Well, that's why I feel like I should have given it a 9.5, but anyways, that's beside the point. What were y'all's overall scores?
Mine was 85.8, so I'm kind of on Team Goobz here.
Nice.
I think mine was somewhere around a 80 or 81, if I'm not
right.
Yeah,
I think it was around there.
So
it's still a good score.
Yeah,
for someone who didn't really had a great time playing the game.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't have like an amazing time playing it, but I recognized its greatness. Just because it wasn't a game for me, I was able to acknowledge the fact that, hey, this is a really good game in itself, and that I can see how other people would enjoy playing this. I just don't.
Yeah, Mega Man's kind of the game you got to kind of ease yourself into. You play some of the earlier ones, and they get harder and harder progressively down the line, and then all of a sudden, you're a pro until you get to Mega Man 11, and then you get your ass kicked.
I do want to ask you guys, as the veterans, what would be your recommended path, I guess, for starting with some of the older games? Like, if I were interested, should I start with 1 or should I start with 2? Or is there kind of like a best agreed upon best NES game?
That's where we're gonna vary, because I grew up playing, I'm a little bit older than Toby, so I grew up playing the Mega Man games, and like I'll go 1, 2, 3, all the way up, but number 2 is my, you hear that review coming out shortly, hopefully, but number 2 is my definite like must play on that.
Number 2 is the fan favorite and probably my favorite as well for the NES series.
Yeah, I kind of gathered that. I was doing a little bit of mild research, so it's kind of cool that you guys agree.
Yeah, it's overall looked upon as the best one out of the NES series. But if you're asking me what's the best, where the best place to start is, I always say Mega Man X, because you do get the slide boots, you get some cooler power ups. I feel like some cooler weapons. You know, the upgrades and everything. So that's where I would settle, just because I'm a scavenger. I like to look for
X
crap.
is gonna give it to you.
X gon' give it to you.
I love that. That was so fucking funny. I meant to compliment you guys on that, but I guess this is as good a time as any.
But yeah, because I feel like we are the veteran players of the Mega Man games in general, I feel like we gloss over a lot of things that you guys did cover on y'all's show.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Like even little stuff that I've been playing this game for 20 some odd years now, and there's little things that I don't even acknowledge anymore just because it doesn't seem useful for me.
The
like
swarms of enemies and everything like that. You don't think anything of it anymore. And you guys really touch on how that's a pain in the fucking ass.
Yeah, for someone that's playing it for the first time, but me, like, when I play a Mega Man game, I know that I'm about to get swarmed by everything on the screen. And if you go back to the NES games, you're going to get respawned on like crazy.
Jesus Christ.
It's so bad in the NES games.
Oh, they're
it's
way worse than X.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I can't
it still
imagine.
does it. It does it in X, but like I said, 10 times worse in the original series. And then like little things like the map. I forgot all about the map even being something that you can toggle to when you're at the main character select screen. And just even looking at the character select screen, like I forgot to even touch on like how cool that little menu is. It's kind of unique. It's different. But you guys touched on that. That's what I wanted to do with this, is see like, okay, how does another show, another two group of guys look at the game? Even if y'all were veterans, it would have still been interesting to see what y'all would have touched on compared to us.
Yeah, as white males, it's always good to get the perspective of other white males. So I agree with you there.
Yeah. I think one thing is like we're both kind of just very nitpicky in nature, and that kind of works for both of us. So especially when we're going into stuff like this, you know, we're very thorough in our observations. And
I'm surprised you guys don't want to do the show with us then if you're very nitpicky.
No. Well, I mean, it's good that, you know, to get, like, as you've mentioned before, alternate perspectives, but it's just like, I think we're just so similar in nature in that regard, so that we're able to just both build off of what we have to say about the game, and we be like, oh, this would be a good thing to talk about, and just every time we're playing the games, we're just kind of like, oh, I really, and it's very enjoyable, at least for me, in that regard, that I can just kind of take a game and break it down, whether I've played it before or haven't played it before, and just kind of break it into pieces and just kind of talk about things that, you know, people might not think about, and just kind of address those issues. So it's really fun for me to do that.
Yeah, and
that's what it's all about.
And it's particularly good for you, Kevin, because you are kind of an aspiring game developer, and I'm not, but I still kind of have that nitpicky nature. I mean, I'm a graphic designer by trade. I'm not sure I've ever mentioned that on IG, but like it's a super meticulous, detail-oriented job, and that just carries through when I'm reviewing these games. And then, Kev, for you, like, if you're making a game in the future, then all these observations you make are going to inform the decisions you make as a dev. So I think that with our powers combined, if I can get a little retro TV show on you guys, I think it's a good opportunity for
He-Man?
you to keep learning.
Yeah.
Is that He-Man? I couldn't remember.
Captain Planet.
Oh shit, that is Captain Planet. I'm older.
Yeah, it is Captain Planet. I remember that.
What's going on? And I said, hey.
So, like some of the things that you guys talked about on the show was like the slowdown in certain parts of the Mega Man game.
Oh, the lag.
But see, I never even it never clicked with me on this game that's slowdown. Like it feels, especially
it
like
really
on the
does happen on the minecart, man. It's
yeah,
bad.
yeah. But like that always felt cinematic to me as a kid. Like there's this explosion happening and all these stupid birds, and
Mega
it's like
Man
the
was
slow
Matrix
motion.
for the Matrix.
That's what I've always thought it was. It never occurred to me like, oh, that is slowdown. That's just because there's so much crap going on the screen at this point. It's because of the limitations of the Super Nintendo. It's not meant to do this.
This ain't
So,
no
like,
John Woo movie with the fucking doves flying out, dude. There's no slow
come on.
motion.
It just seems like a really cool cinematic, like, oh, we need to take this in, the explosions and the birds and you're flying through the air. Like, It just, I don't know, little things like that. I was just like, oh shit, you're right. Or like the bosses being erratic and they don't really have a set pattern of like, okay, you're going to jump over it, shoot, and it's going to run underneath you and you jump back. It's not like some of the games we've noticed patterns like Monsters in My Pocket for the NES. Like there's definite patterns that are super easy to learn. But it never occurred to me like, oh yeah, these don't have specific patterns. Like they have the same set move sets that they do over and over, but it's not a continuous pattern. It's very erratic.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting though, like, you know, just because you guys noticed that, we didn't notice it, and I was drooling the entire time, having you know, a good time talking about my favorite game. So
to your point about the lagginess on that level, about after the 30th time I played this particular part, I was like, okay, you know, I was asking myself, why would they allow this to happen? Like, why would this be a thing? And so I'm sitting there on the cart and it's going slow and I'm spamming B or not B, I don't know, the fire button. And then I'm just like, you know, I guess this could be kind of cinematic in a way. And I was like, nah, this is just laggy.
You were Stockholm syndroming yourself after 30 times of playing that.
Yeah, I was like, there has to be a reason, right?
Well, see, and this last playthrough that I was doing, it's funny because I didn't even know Matt was a speedrunner or anything when I first hit play on y'all's episode. But when I was playing my playthrough of it again, I was sitting there thinking, man, this is the game that I would pick to be a speedrunner on.
Yeah.
And then, you know, of course, you had Matt on. And I was like, oh, he stole my thunder. That's what I want to do now. I want to be a speedrunner. But now I'm just copying but it's really crazy because I don't find, and again, 20 years
Dude,
of playing.
You just Highlander him, just like, there must only be one.
Either that or just
get better.
Either that or just flatter his ass like, Matt, you're such an inspiration after listening to...
You're so handsome.
You're so handsome, and you make such good music, and you're so good. Oh, you're so good at Mega Man X! And then I think...
your music, I fuck to your music, Matt.
Oh, that's right, he is.
I'd be inflating his ego a lot.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna make sure that Matt listens to this episode now. I'm gonna guarantee it.
Welcome to the secret levels, boys.
But yeah, no, it just... I didn't remember that this is actually kind of a hard game if you're not used to any Mega Man game. You know, it's a little more challenging, and I'm not very good at it. I'm just saying, like, I know the ins and outs of the levels. If I really sat there and played, I feel like I could get this one down. This is probably one of the only few games that I could attempt to be a speedrunner at, you know?
Yeah.
Because I've played it so much. But the difficulty was pretty high for you guys?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I thought the game was really difficult. But I did say in my content section, I did say that I thought it would make a very good speedrunning game. It just seemed like like a really good one that I would want to do if I was any good at the game, but I'm not, so I'm not going to.
I feel like it would take a lot of practice. I think maybe you compared it a lot to Donkey Kong and stuff, like when you were talking about it, because I think Donkey Kong would be a better speedrun game just because you don't have 900 enemies coming at you all at once all the time.
That's probably true.
Yeah, and Donkey Kong Country has I don't think it has any RNG. Which is another thing that Mega Man certainly has, as we talked about with the bosses.
It has tons of RNG.
So, like, and apparently Matt was telling me, which blew my fucking mind, like, yeah, one of the reasons we like it is because we like getting good RNG. And I was like, I would like not having to worry about RNG in the first place. Like, I just don't understand.
We actually both are speedrunners, and Peter does Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for the 64, and I do Banjo-Kazooie for the 64. And I can easily say that
the soundtrack for Tony Hawk.
So here I am, doing everything I can.
Karaoke on the Secret Levels podcast.
It's worse than the actual soundtrack. That's the only reason why I don't like that game.
Yeah.
But that's awesome.
Yeah. But we would definitely say that we don't prefer RNG. After playing our respective games, we're like, oh yeah, get RNG away from me. No,
yeah,
no, thank you.
Tony Hawk doesn't have any it doesn't really have any relevant RNG. So I'm happy about that. Banjo, I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah, Kev?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some parts, but I think the most frustrating one is our good buddy Z-Link. He speedruns Link to the Past, and there's like 2 sections where like it could ruin his entire run. So it's kind of crazy. It's like the shovel digging game, and then I forgot the other one.
Yeah, they're both mini games, which is like salt in the wound, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So.
Is it one of those things to where he puts in like 30 minutes or something, and then it could screw him completely, and he's just like, fuck it, and he throws the remote, and he's just done with it?
Yeah, if he were that like dynamic of a person, but he kind of just sits there, he would just put it down, and he'd just be like,
You're talking to a Binding of Isaac player, so RNG can fuck your life.
yeah,
And it absolutely does.
yeah, for sure.
We can agree our ratings are different enough, and that people should be listening to both of them, right?
Right. Yeah.
As I said earlier, I think that both our podcasts are different enough to where you could be in an IG mood one day and a Secret Levels mood the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, I've felt that way in the past couple days myself. Like, I don't feel like listening to myself. Let's tune into Secret Levels instead. So, I don't think
Well,
that
hey, if you're Canadian, weed's legal up here. Listen, smoke some weed if you feel like a low kind of thing. Like, listen to your show. If you feel like you're fucking gonna run off a bridge, listen to Secret Levels.
yeah, you take Molly for Secret Levels, and you take weed or other downers for
Yeah,
for
no,
IG.
you could probably take some heroin for Secret Levels sometimes. I didn't mean to say your show was like a downer, because your show is very interesting and great.
Yeah, because you guys actually cover more of the game. We make fart jokes and then cover more of like the story and the fun facts and that kind of stuff, and more fart jokes. We get
Fart
plenty
jokes,
of the fart
dick
jokes.
jokes all day.
Dick jokes, fart jokes. I was trying to be PG for a second. I don't know. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I've got 1 or 2 younger cousins who I believe listen to my show, which kind of boggles my mind because I haven't seen them for like 10 years. And so
Oh, shit.
my aunt is like, hey, your cousins are a fan of the podcast. I was like, they know that I do it at all? Like, I was mind-boggled. Like, my mom must have told them or something. Like, because I don't keep in touch with them, which I should actually, now that I'm...
Where's my Christmas cards?
By the way, guys, I have an explicit language podcast. Here you go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I would want any of my family listening to either one of my shows.
I would love all my family to listen to everything.
The family has to love you for who you are, and if they can't handle you at your podcast, then they don't deserve you at your best. So, I believe John F. Kennedy once said that.
No, it was Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, sure.
Oh, right before you got shot and or wrestled a bear.
Both.
I don't know about American folklore.
I was wondering if we could kind of. I don't know if we have more to cover with regards to Mega Man X, but I was kind of wondering if we could kind of talk about like the origin stories of each of our podcasts, because I don't know about Kevin, but I personally have no idea how you two met or started the podcast or anything, and I was kind of looking forward to hearing about that if y'all don't mind.
Yeah, no, I was actually just about to ask you guys like what influenced you guys to start the show. So I don't know if you want us to go first or if you guys want to go first.
I want you to go first.
This is a standoff. This is a raid-off.
There's a snake in my boob.
Somebody poisoned the water hole.
So Goobz and I met because of our love for wrestling. We
Oily
are
men.
grown men that love oiled up men wrestling in underwear. And we met over Twitter, and I had a show and he had a YouTube show, and we just started chatting a lot for about a year.
What?
But we started chatting for like a year and a half, and then one day I think I was on their show and he had an Altered Beast hat on, and I was like, holy shit, like, we did it over Skype and everything. I was like, holy shit, I love Altered Beast. And that's how we realized we both loved video games. And then I was going to start a second podcast because I have a huge video game collection, and the only way to justify it was to say that it's research for a podcast. So I started it, and it was supposed to just be me with a rotating guest. And
But I did the first episode, Shaq Fu.
And then every episode since then.
And then it's just, we click so well because we both, like, love the whole fucking community so much and we just had to go for it.
Yeah, he did the first episode with me, and he was like, "Man, I had a lot of fun." And I was like, "Yeah, me too." And then I got off Skype with him, and I was talking to my girlfriend. I was like, "Man, we had a lot of fun. I think I'm just going to ask Goobz if he wants to be the permanent co-host, and that way I don't have to search every week for a different co-host." And he said yes, and now you're
married.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything in our origin story, Goobz?
Oh yeah, you missed my story of it. So, when I first saw Toby come out on Skype, and I saw his beautiful long locks, and his pretty eyes, and his wonderful button nose, I knew this man was mine.
It was love at first Skype.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's good.
That's a t-shirt right there. Secret
I hope I'm the
levels,
first
love
person
at
to ever
first
say
Skype.
that.
That's really good. I like that.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. We just have too many video games and just wanted to talk about video games and video games.
I do have two little asides I want to mention in response to y'all's origin story, which is that number one, Shaq Fu. I listened to that episode. It wasn't the first episode I listened to. I started with Diddy Kong Racing, which I've told you guys, but I went back. I listened to a bunch of episodes and I went back to Shaq Fu, and then it was kind of clear that Toby was like not really sure what the direction of the show was going to be, and then Goobz, you were talking as if you were just a guest, and I was like, wait a minute, like this is kind of weird. I think that that the direction of the show kind of changed or like refined itself at some point. So it's kind of funny that you guys just like came out and confirmed that just now.
Yeah. It's the first 3 episodes are really weird when I go back and listen to them, because I think that by the 3rd episode is when I started putting sound drops in, but yeah, the first like 1 or 2 episodes, it's just kind of, we didn't know what our format was exactly, and we didn't know what we were really trying to accomplish. We just knew we wanted to talk about some damn video games.
We were like teenagers in high school, just trying to find our identity.
Yeah.
We were experimenting.
Cool.
Experimenting with each other.
I really like that story though. That's pretty cool.
That is a good story. I've noticed like a weird cross section of gamers who are also into wrestling. And I don't know what it is, but I guess it's because they have characters and plot lines and stuff. if I were to assume,
yeah.
But
Well, that's exactly it for me. Like I like stories. I like comic books. I collect comics as well. Video games. That's why we have a section dedicated to what the story is about, because I like the stories of the games and the characters, and that's what wrestling is. It's an ongoing soap opera that I can have goofy characters that are dead or cult leaders or whatever they are, you know.
Stop talking about yourself, cult leader.
But what about you guys? How did the Interstate Gamers get formed?
Well, I do want to kind of, Kev, if you don't mind, I do kind of want to speak a little bit about my rating system, which sort of in a very circuitous sort of way it did lead to the podcast. And Kev kind of told the story already, but basically it was like the summer of 2016 or something, and I was like, man, I feel like making a spreadsheet of all the video games I've ever owned and how I would rate them. And so I kind of just did that. It wasn't too many video games. It was only like 60 or so, which maybe would be a lot to non-gamers, but for people like us, I think that's a pretty modest number. But yeah, I kind of came up with the categories, as Kevin said. Funny thing about the content category, I had like no idea what the fuck to call that for a while, but I was thinking about when I was younger and I would go on GameFAQs and read, I would just read reviews of games on GameFAQs just for fun. And they would always have like a part that was talking about the plot or about the characters or about like how much of the game there was. Like there'd always be some section for that. But I was thinking about that, like that doesn't apply to every game, because like not every game needs plot, not every game needs to have like a bunch of like stuff like that. And I thought, what if you just call it content and just umbrella everything under that? And so I kind of asked Kevin, like, hey, what do you think of this? And he was like, yeah, I think that makes sense. And I was like, cool, I'll put that in my fun little spreadsheet that I have. And then I made that spreadsheet and I sent it to him. And we kind of talked about it a little bit, not too much. And then fast forward about 1.5 to 2 years, and Kevin kind of, in my mind, he kind of randomly had the idea to do a podcast, but I'm going to let him talk about that because that's kind of his part of the story.
Yeah, it was kind of random, and I do kind of have random thoughts like this, but I will say it was something that I was formulating for a while in my head, at least some form of show that I wanted to do. So I've always wanted to have like a game reviewing show because I've always thought that I had pretty unique opinions and perspectives on video games. So I just had that idea, just like, oh man, it would be really cool if I could do that one day. And my friend Aaron started a podcast called the Eastie Boys, which we plug on our show like way too much, but
they don't deserve it.
Yeah, they're really cool guys. But they started a podcast, and I was like, man, yeah, that would be a really good idea. And I was like, I could really do, that idea that I've always wanted to do about like kind of reviewing video games and stuff like that. And I was like, rating system would be pretty cool. And I was like, oh yeah, Peter made a rating system a while back. And so then I kind of, thoughts started generating from that. And I was like, Peter would be a really good co-host to have. So then I just kind of talked to him about it, and he was like, yeah, I think it would be a good idea. So then we spent a really long time figuring out what the name would be.
Oh God. The name was the hardest part. It always is.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to hear the side names.
Man.
I don't know if
I'm sure we have like a Google Doc somewhere.
I don't even know if we do, because I think we might have to dig in our Google Drive, because I remember just texting about it back and forth for a long time.
Yeah.
And I remember like I think the very first one that either of us thought of was the Game Boys, and we were like, there is no way on God's green earth that name is available for any spelling, like literally any spelling of Game Boys. Like, guarantee you life savings that would not be available, and it wasn't. So I don't remember any of the other names though. Kev, do you remember any of them?
Oh no, I do remember that one now that you mention it. But
I'm like Kevin Sorbo. I'm disappointed.
But yeah, so it kind of stemmed from that. And Peter and I had been friends for a while. We met on Twitch, which I think we've stated on our podcast before, but if not, that's how we met. And, we've already met through video games. We already knew we loved video games, and we kind of formed a friendship through that. Now we talk about other things in daily life and whatnot, but,
That's pretty cool how it organically came together, just like from Twitch, just talking to each other on there, and you just found your love of video games. Now you're doing a podcast.
Yeah, now we're living out the dream. But yeah, I've just kind of always had that.
The stream.
The stream. Yeah.
T-shirt.
Yeah. We have a bunch of T-shirt ideas going on.
Yeah, we're gonna have to split all the royalties on this one.
Yeah. But it was just something that had always been something I wanted to do. I've always wanted to have like a voice when it comes to like reviewing video games or like talking about video games and critiquing video games. And when you have an unpopular opinion and you want to talk to somebody about a video game about it, like 9 times out of 10 they're going to like argue with you, and you're not going to be able to get your full point out. What I really like about our podcast is that I could say whatever I want and nobody can argue with me except for Peter.
Yeah, and then I can edit it out if I really disagree. So
yeah, and he edits the yeah. So yeah,
yeah. But your inspiration
I just like
though
how it gives us
your inspiration for the show came at a good time though, Kev, because I had really just started getting into podcasts just a couple months before you had the idea. And I, just like you, I also enjoy the sound of my own voice. So I was like, yeah, we can totally do this thing. Like, I'd been wanting to make some sort of podcast content for a while, and Kev had this idea. And we had kind of sort of worked on creative projects, like in some way before together. So we knew that we could like do it without driving each other absolutely up the wall, which we haven't done yet. So that's good. But yeah, it was just kind of
speak for yourself.
Good circumstances. And doing the show has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with our show. Now, I guess I should add in the origins of secret levels of where the name comes from.
Please do.
But I think it's pretty obvious. My other show, Secret Transmission.
Oh yeah.
And when I was younger, Secret Transmission is actually also a play on something else. I used to make videos on YouTube and little stupid skits and stuff. They're not very funny. Don't search them out. But
You should.
We
You
used-
should. They're fucking hilarious.
Click,
to
click, click,
watch.
no,
click.
they're not. They're terrible. But we used to call the brand, I guess, I don't know, I was branding myself, but we used to call it Secret Productions. And it's basically just a joke like, yeah, we're so good it's a secret because no one knows about us. So that was kind of the whole idea, is that
You're so
it's
lame.
I know I am.
Toby's a very
But so-
secretive person.
So Secret has always stuck with me because Secret Productions, I thought that was such a cool name. And then when I got into podcasts, I got into spooky podcasts. And one of the first things that made me really like, I'm going to do a podcast on spooky stuff, was an episode on number stations.
Oh, those are
And
so
which-
cool.
Yeah, and they transmit signals and
Secret signals,
codes.
secret transmissions.
Yeah, so that's how Secret Transmission was born, and then Secret Levels. Well, obviously the secret just carries on with anything I ever do from now on is probably going to have secret in there because it's
Your secret is safe with me.
You have a secret girlfriend and secret children, secret job.
a secret life. Yep.
I go to secret
Secret
church.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
So
Don't do that.
He has his own church, the Cult of Toby.
the Church
I'm a
Toby.
Tobitarian.
But yeah, that's now knowing and. It was originally going to just be me, so it made sense that, oh, this is my spinoff show. But after I invited Goobz, I've always thought, man, I should have given Goobz the opportunity to help come up with the name.
We're gonna
But
call
you know,
it the
it,
Secret Trains.
the secret railers.
Secret rails is actually kind of cool.
But so I didn't have the opportunity because it was already set in motion because I'd already made the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram. Like I had already made the podcast name and uploaded the first episode, and I was like, oh, I guess it's Secret Transmission forever or Secret Levels. So that's how we got not stuck because I'm still happy with the name. Are you happy with the name, Goobz? I've never asked you.
It's decent at best.
He's just like, I hate it. We should change it tomorrow.
What's your rageometer for the name of the podcast?
0.05.
Okay, negligible. That's good.
Actually, I changed that. It's a 9.5.
Oh no, you worked yourself up again.
There you go.
I didn't think Canadians could go over like a certain rage limit.
Oh, trust me. Trust me. They can.
If you misplace your Mega Man X disc,
Or
your
your
rage can
computer
go
doesn't
through the
load
roof.
like certain shit. Yeah, you can rage pretty hard.
A little behind the scenes, Goobz had technical difficulties for about an hour and a half.
It was close to
before
2
we
hours.
got started. Oh, close to 2 hours.
But wait,
But-
is that like American time 1 hour?
Don't
little slow.
try to conversion rate me on this.
I do want to say though, I like the name Secret Levels because anyone who listens to IG enough knows I'm all about the content, aka the content. And secret levels in a game are quite possibly my favorite form of said content. So I kind of had like a natural affinity for the show based on the name alone.
Contextual.
I feel like it kind of hurts us sometimes because I feel like if someone's just scrolling through like podcasts and they see Secret Levels, what the hell is that? But Interstate
But
Gamers,
they see our logo, man. How can you not
but
tell?
if they just see the name Secret Levels, that doesn't tell you anything about what the show is. But Interstate Gamers is like, oh, they're gamers.
11 different
What's going on
interstates.
here? I like games, so like I'm always jealous. Like, oh, maybe we should have been like Secret Gamers,
Secret
or something.
I wouldn't recommend that one.
No.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it's something
Yeah.
that kind of spells it out. There's podcasts
No,
that
it
have like
spells it a little too well, Toby.
there's some shows that have like Nintendo right in the name, and I'm like, son of a bitch, they're getting all the Nintendo listeners
Yeah.
because they've got it right up in the front.
Yeah, I honestly got like, when I came across your podcast, I was like, Secret Levels. Oh, that's a really good name. That's instantly what I thought before I even listened. So I think you're good, honestly.
Yeah.
See, I just always had that opinion that no one knew what the hell it was. Hey, we get that all the time with Secret Transmission. I've had people be like, are y'all a car show? Like, and I'm like, what? Like, because of a transmission? And, no.
Your name is Secret Transmissions. Are you some sort of like confidentiality podcast?
I don't.
That's
I don't know.
amazing.
You've been also asked by another community of people that if you're a part of that too.
Yeah. Yeah. We get that a lot because our handle for the Secret Transmission is Secret Transpod. I thought I was being clever in the shorthand of it and didn't know my errors that I made.
No, you're being clever in a totally different way. One that
Yeah.
might not have been quite so correct.
So yeah, well, whatever. It all worked out, I guess.
Yeah, it works. It works. I like it.
So I want to ask, what are some of your, I don't want to say top 10, but what are just some of your favorite like go-to games? If it's raining, you have nothing else to do, you're just sitting at home and you look at the shelf, what games are you pulling off of it?
For me, it kind of changes, I mean, I play a lot of games that come out on the Switch. Like, this week I'm picking up Pokemon Let's Go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be playing that.
It's gonna be terrible.
It's going to be terrible? I hope not. I'm spending $60 on
It's
it.
Pokemon Go on your couch. I didn't realize that when I pre-ordered and bought the little ball.
Oh, you bought the ball?
I did too. I bought the ball too.
My girlfriend bought the
Me
ball.
and Toby love the balls.
Welcome to Secret Transmissions, where everyone buys balls.
That's right.
Funny enough, you can pet the balls and they will make sound.
Oh God.
Oh, I need 2 balls then.
I'm cutting that clip out and just using that from now on. Oh, I need 2 balls now.
Put that on your soundboard.
Yeah.
That was close.
That cracked me up. I listened to Pokemon Snap just last night or the night before. I was like, that was close.
Well, he's in every episode.
Yeah.
Oak is part of the family.
And Jenny
yeah.
really wants to sleep with him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But what games are you grabbing off that imaginary shelf?
Yeah, I mean...
You said you play a lot of Switch games?
Yeah, it kind of depends on the time. I play Switch, Xbox, and now I have a PC that I could play on. So I have a lot of things that I can just kind of grab and go. But ones I kind of always come back to, the Majora's Mask, I play and stream a lot, as Peter knows. I really enjoy that game. And Banjo, I used to just, since I was a speedrunner, just, play that all the time. And I think I could still play it, but I don't have my CRT with me, so I have to get that authentic playthrough going on for Banjo, so I can't play Banjo. But I would say Banjo and Majora's, if I had to pick 2, would be 2 go-tos for me.
Okay, that's fair.
For me, I think one of my go-tos is Star Fox 64.
That's a good
That's
one.
one of my favorite games of all time. I have some very strong opinions on it, which if people listen to Season 1, Episode 2 of IG, they will find that out in due time. But I love that game. Other ones, Perfect Dark for the N64 is another one of my favorite games of all time. If I feel like streaming and I don't know what I want to stream, I'll just put on Perfect Dark and just fuck around, shoot people in the face, shoot people in the leg, shoot people in the arm.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's always a fun time. What else, man? Kevin and I are both big fans of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Nintendo GameCube, which was
Can't
released
wait for
in
the
2001.
next one.
So that's
Yeah.
always something that we like to play competitively and sometimes casually as well. So I think
You guys
that,
excited for the next game coming out?
Yeah, I am. Peter's is kind of dwindled, I think, but
yeah, I'm skeptical. I have a healthy skepticism. So
Piranha Plant, man.
I actually do love that. I think that's amazing.
Piranha.
I know Toby's super hard for Ken coming into it.
Yeah, I'm a big Ken fan, so that's exciting. I mean, it's Ryu, but it's still exciting.
There's just gonna be so many characters I'm anxious to try out. I'm very excited to play it. I don't know what kind of game it's gonna be, but I think I'll enjoy playing it at least for a good while. So,
Yeah. I can't wait to play as Ridley.
oh yeah, Ridley.
When Ridley was revealed, I lost my shit because I've been wanting Ridley in a Smash game for probably since Melee came out. So I'm very excited about that.
Should we mention Project M here? Or
Yeah, Project M is pretty fun as well. I feel like there's some other games I want to shout out while I have the luxury to do so, but I think it's got to be those N64 ones I mentioned. Those are the ones that I always go back to. I actually do have a list, and I'll tweet this out for all the avid fans to look at later. But I do have a list of like my top 10. I call them desert island games, the games I'd want to bring with me on such an island. And I feel like that's a good way to think about it, because that way you kind of eliminate redundant games, games that are too similar to each other. So I can share that with you guys.
We did a top 10 a long time ago of basically that's, I think, what we came to the conclusion to, because we were like, you can't pick more than one game from a series. That way you didn't have like, well, I like Mario 1, 2, and 3 and Mega Man X 1 through 4. No, you got to have a couple of varieties in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are some of those that would be on there? Do you know them off the top of your head?
I know a couple. Pokemon Generation 3 is definitely one of them. I love me some Pokemon Gen 3.
Yeah.
Kevin's a big Pokemon guy as well.
Yeah, I am. My very first video game was Pokemon Yellow.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I hate Pikachu walking behind me.
You could trap him in the Brock's, I forgot Brock's town, but in the Pokemon Center, you make him fall asleep to Jigglypuff, and I would always run out of the door, just in hopes that he would just stay there, but he never did.
Pikachu! Y'all are so mean to Pikachu, Jesus.
You're not my kid!
I didn't choose you.
My first one was Pokemon Red, and then when Yellow came out, my neighbor down the road got Yellow, and of course his was more superior just because Pikachu was following him, and I was always so jealous of that. And finally I got it, and then of course Gold and Silver were coming out by the time I got Yellow, so it was like, well, fuck me, I can't get ahead.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Trying to get ahead of Pokemon is a losing game.
Yeah, it sure is.
Roll the
You can
punches.
never really catch them all.
No, you can't.
Well, let's talk about SPD, or what the fuck am I trying to say? STDs, then you can.
Trying to catch them all.
Great delivery on that one.
Yeah. Yes, Peter.
Fuck y'all, it's late. I've been up since 4:30.
Aw. Well, Peter, you had mentioned earlier that you talked about Star Fox 64, and this kind of made me think of this, since we're just talking about our podcast and whatnot. At least almost every episode, I tweet out a picture alluding to what game we're going to review next, if it's not already completely spoiled. And my friend Simon, he listens to the podcast, but apparently not enough, because every single time he guesses Star Fox. And it's not a joke either. He always guesses Star Fox. And then finally this past time he guessed Star Fox because it was a picture of Kirby ducking under Mega Man's bullet. And he's like, Star Fox ? And I linked him straight to the episode.
Are you sure he's not fucking with you?
64.
Are you positive?
What?
Are you positive he's not messing with you?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Okay.
He's also guessed on our personal chat Star Fox before too. I just think he forgets every time. I don't know what it is.
Well, I hope that's not our most forgettable episode. I hope that's not the takeaway here.
I don't think it is. I don't think he started listening to season 2.
Yeah.
What are some of the episodes you guys would suggest for someone that wants to jump over and try a few episodes out of the Interstate gamers?
I would say season 2, Kev. What do you think?
Yeah, pretty much all of season 2 is a go. Really good ones that I think people have been pretty receptive towards is Link to the Past is a good one, and Chopper Attack people really liked.
the highest and lowest rated games are both very good episodes.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to try that Chopper Attack after I listened to that episode. I was like, I gotta see what's going on in this. I can't. I listened to you guys talk about it, and I never looked up any gameplay, but I was so interested in trying it out.
It's worth a play.
I still got it on my list to try out.
Yeah, it's worth a play for sure.
And I've been kind of meaning to stream it as well since I actually kind of know how to play the game. I'm pretty decent at it, so I kind of want to show the people how it's done, so to speak, but also just kind of laugh at the game while doing so.
I've got a handful of those kind of games where for some reason I'm decent at, and it's terrible games. You don't know how you get to that point to where you're good at such a bad game.
Yeah.
Childhood. Only having one game because it was $70 and you gotta just play it.
Love the one you're with.
Yeah. Now you're just kind of like, I don't know what to do with all these games. You're like, oh, I need to play this. I need to play this. I need to play this. And then you're like, oh, but I have to go to work. And so then you end up taking 2 weeks paid vacation just to play video games.
Hey, that's not a joke. It took me 2 months to finally finish this week. I finally finished Mario Odyssey and the Spider-Man on PS4.
Ooh, those are good ones.
It took me 2 months though. I've had this entire time I've had my Switch, which has been longer than 2 months. I don't even know what it is. I've had Mario Odyssey, and I'll play for about 20 minutes here, an hour here. Never like sat down and fully finished it. And I started getting to the end, and I was like, I just got to muscle through it. And I beat it, and then I was like, well, I got to muscle through Spider-Man. I'm right here at the end, so it's hard. It's hard to find time for all the games. And like you said, we got Pokemon coming out. I'm going to be addicted to Fallout as soon as it gets here. And then Smash is coming out.
You'll be lucky you got to wait for a bit because the servers are all fucked up anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fallout actually just came out...
Today?
Yeah, Tuesday? Yeah.
Yeah. It came out on Tuesday. Yeah. And, well, my copy hasn't come in yet.
Don't worry about it.
The conversion rate for Canada is different. But yeah, no, it's really hard to find time to play games, and somehow
plus, like, the ones we have to review as well. I'm sure you guys feel that.
Yeah, that's why we do it once every 2 weeks. Because I told Kevin, like, I can't be spending, like, I have so many other personal projects going on. Like, I can't be spending all my free time playing video games.
Yeah, you're telling me. I got 2 other podcasts.
Yeah, you guys have podcasts. You guys have kids. Like, I can't even imagine. Like, I salute you guys for having the what's the word? A discipline to do this once a week.
Well, in our defense, we were probably going to be playing a video game of some sort anyway, so might as well just. Again, that's the excuse. Well, I gotta play this game,
like earlier this
darling.
week is like we're doing this show this week, so I'm like, we don't have to play nothing. I'm like, I'm good this week. I'm like, I sat around Monday night. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do right now? Like, I have free choice, like free will. Oh my god!
Free from the oppressive regime of Toby's podcast. That you're conscripted into like a soldier.
Hey, because of the free, this is like a free week for me too. I started playing a game that we're going to be reviewing in January, just because I was like, this one's going to take a long time to play. I'm going to start it now and play just a couple hours every week until I get it done.
Yeah. That's in January?
So, that's in January.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, Kevin and I have a couple games like that too. At least I do, because one of the games he's played already, the other one I haven't. So I have to start kind of planning ahead, doing some quick maths.
See, during our show and like how we do everything, we really, really try to beat the game. On a couple of instances, it didn't happen. Like, I didn't beat it, or Goobz didn't beat it, whatever it may be. But the majority of them we do get complete. Maybe not on the hardest level, but we do get them complete to kind of see the full story unfold and everything. So that's really what I'm aiming for this particular game that we're teasing the shit out of right now. So January, that one is going to be a big one.
Man, I hate the planet we live on.
Well, all right.
That was a pretty good hint. I get it because I know what game you're talking about, but I know everyone else is like, what the fuck does that mean?
Oh, you guys are going to do Little Big Planet. I get it now.
See, exactly.
Well, I'm bound to anything.
There you go. How about we? Do you guys have anything else you want to say, or anything?
I just want to say, and I've been thinking about this for all of 2 seconds. So real planned out shit here. I just really appreciate the opportunity to be on the show. I think this is our first time ever collaborating with fellow podcasters, so I've been excited for this for a long time. I remember when Kev first told me, hey, some people called the Secret Levels podcast retweeted one of our things. I was like, who the fuck are those guys? Turns out, pretty cool guys. I have not been disappointed. Yeah. I'm on Team SL now, so I hope you guys appreciate that.
Team Mystic.
I appreciated it more when you're like, who the hell are these guys?
Yeah, it's been really fun. I really enjoyed this episode in particular and listening to your podcast. I remember discovering you guys. I was like, oh, somebody found us, and then I found you guys, and I was like, oh, this podcast's pretty cool, Peter, check it out. And then that's kind of how.
And 1 month later, I did.
Yeah.
Which actually, I do want to ask, how did you guys find us?
Well, okay, so funny thing is, when we started our show, I was spying on the competition.
Oh, no.
I was going around listening to a bunch of other video game podcasts, trying to figure out how exactly. Yeah, we were sizing up. We were like, yeah, I could take those guys. I could take these guys. No,
Toby,
it was more.
Let's be honest. You can take a lot of guys.
something Mega Buster.
But yeah, no, I was really just trying to see what other shows were doing, because the show that we put together is kind of the show that I was looking for originally. And then, just coming across other shows, I'd find shows that weren't so great. And then I found some shows that were great, like you guys. I liked y'all's insight on the games and everything. And I liked how y'all broke it down. I was super jealous after because we were probably 6 episodes in when I found you guys. And I was like, damn it, they have a good system. So I was pretty jealous about that. And like I said, I like how y'all break it down and everything. And then I think out of like the 8 or 9 different shows that I was listening to, I've only kept 2 in my, constant download playlist thing. And it's you guys and another show called Worth It or Worthless. They're pretty good. So, plug for them, even though they don't know us, I don't think.
That's the best kind of plug.
Yeah.
I think I've heard you mention them before.
Yeah. They also have a unique take on reviewing games, and basically their show comes down to one of them knows how much the game is worth, and then the other one doesn't, and they have to try to guess how much it's worth. And then it's a cool concept, which also kind of made me jealous. And I'll go ahead and say this here. I'm not afraid to put myself on blast and show that I'm a copycat. I started making sure to add how much the game is worth because of their show, because it's a good fact to know. It's a fun fact. Hey, this game's worth $30. So I kind of stole that from them, except their whole show was based around it and the review of the game.
Yeah.
So one guy basically will be like, this game's worth $20, but I wouldn't pay $20 for it. And then the other guy's like, no, it's actually a $200 game. And then they're like, holy shit. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, like I said, I was spying on the competition, seeing who was better than us, seeing who I should hire assassins
We're like the Russians. We come in and see what's going on. Seek out our opponents.
Kev, did you do anything like that before we started this? Because I certainly didn't do any research. I just got it right the first try.
No, not really. I went out on Twitter and tried to find people who were into the same kind of things that we were, being podcasting and video games and stuff like that. I tried to find someone similar, but I wouldn't necessarily say I was scouting out per se. It was just kind of trying to grow a community more than anything, I think.
Trying to grow a follower count, you mean?
Yeah, basically. Well, I do think our community has kind of grown to a point where it's pretty cool to see everybody that I don't want to say influenced, but perspectives we've put into people's minds.
Yeah, and we have friends who listen to the show, and we have friends who don't necessarily listen to the show but still enjoy watching one of us do our live streams or just enjoy talking about video games. We have a Discord channel and that sort of thing. So it has been fun to grow the community that way. And it doesn't need to be... It's called the Interstate Gamers Discord, but it doesn't need to be all about the podcast all the time because there's only so much you can talk about about one podcast. But it is fun.
Yeah, it's a good episode, guys.
I like the part when Peter said this word. It was great. But no, I agree with Kevin. It's fun to meet people with similar interests, and I'm not the kind of person who's always on the computer, who's always chatting with people. But whenever I want to, there are people there that I can talk with about video games or even just kind of life stuff. So I do enjoy that.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I the only reason I was headhunting, scouting, or whatever I was doing with other shows is because I really wanted to find a show that was doing what we were doing.
Yeah. And
some of the shows that I did kind of find that were doing something similar were like 3 hours long. And I was just like, man, that's just too much. It's killer. Like an hour to an hour and a half is about the sweet spot for me for a podcast. So
yeah,
we originally were supposed to only be like 30-minute episodes, and then we like to talk.
Yeah.
That's what you get when you bring a derailer on the show.
Yeah, that's no joke.
But we originally, I don't know if you guys have listened to season 1, but I
have.
Yeah, we had a bunch of just different segments going on in season 1, which we thought they were pretty cool and nifty, but they were kind of exhausting to set up, and they were very draining. And so when we kind of cut all those segments off, I think these became a lot easier for us, and I think it became a lot easier for the listeners as well. But we had like a beer segment and like trivia and all this other stuff, and I was just like, you know what, Peter, what if we just didn't?
Yeah.
I remember the episode where I was like, I think it was like Link to the Past, where I was like, what if I just didn't do this?
I'm straight up challenging you guys right now to do a freestyle on one of your shows.
Man, there's no way I could top that. What was it? Kirby's Dream Course? That I just listened to. Which, by the way, fucking hilarious. Kirby's Dream Divorce. I was at work and I was like trying not to laugh out loud. Oh my god! I'm gonna.
I always I get real worried that because we reference that all the time, and I'm always like, oh, no one's heard that episode maybe, and they won't understand the joke. There's a joke. It's an ongoing joke. The Kirby's Dream Divorce, and hopefully people remember that.
Yeah. Well, IG is like 50% ongoing jokes by this point, so I wouldn't worry about it too much.
That's like all our podcasts.
Yeah. Oh man.
We actually put in line, I don't know, it could come at a later date and this could be a spoiler, but we almost did Kirby's Dream Course, if I'm not mistaken.
Did we?
We discussed it. We put it in like the B tier, A tier at least.
The B team of games on the bench waiting to possibly be reviewed. Yeah, I think I remember not being too keen on it, to be quite honest. So
it's super fun unless you're playing with your spouse.
I played with Chris, so close enough.
See, and I think with this little experiment that we did, I think it goes to show like we can cover the same games, and you're going to get different perspectives. You're going to get different information. Someone's going to forget something, and while the other show is going to get something right. So I think it's safe to say if you listen to one of our shows on, I don't know, Super Mario Brothers, your guys' show is going to be 100% different for the most part, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think it's always worth checking out both shows if you're interested in a game, and we've both covered it, you know?
Oh man, if you guys need to do Super Mario World. I cannot wait to hear you, because that's one of my favorite games of all time, as Kev knows. So if you guys did an episode on that, I'd be very interested.
I got get to the Star World and all that stuff. You gotta do all the extras. Extra levels, man.
Secret levels.
Man,
that game introduced me to secret levels. Don't even
I can't even make my own show proper.
It was too easy of a setup. You just couldn't do it. It was like hitting a ball off a tee.
Really pull and strain for it, like a radish out of Super Mario 2.
Finish him.
How about we wrap this up? Will you guys tell everyone where they can find your show?
Your amazing show. Not your show,
Yes.
your amazing show, Toby. Come on. Get with it.
You could find us like pretty much anywhere. You can find us on now YouTube. You can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, our website, theigcast.com. We're
Spotify
pretty much
as well.
everywhere. Oh yeah, Spotify. I don't know if I said that or not, but yeah, we're pretty available. And you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and now Instagram.
That's
Oh,
right.
shit,
Yeah.
the IG.
IG
Yeah.
on
IG is on the IG.
Oh man,
Yeah.
we need to do a post to that effect. That should have been our first post. Damn,
Yeah,
we're gonna have to give Goobz the royalties on that one.
yeah,
The guy who just got on the IG in the last month, man.
yeah.
I'm not even on IG. Well, I am, but I never checked the thing.
It's intimidating.
While we're doing plugs and such, I do want to promote one of my friends who's doing a 24-hour charity
Matt?
live stream for Extra Life. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that, but for
Yeah,
anyone
Rooster
listening,
Teeth.
he might.
Well,
Rooster Teeth might do it, but it's just kind of like a movement, sort of like, it's kind of like a No Shave November sort of thing, where if you're interested in the in the charity or in the act, you can just do it and donate to a hospital of your choice. But yeah, like there's a bunch of hospitals that participate in this. One of my friends from Texas, actually, so Kev and Toby, kind of close to home for you guys. He's going to be doing a stream on Saturday through Sunday this week, and him and his good friend are going to both be streaming, and they're really good guys who do some good content. I watched them last year, and they played some really fun games, interacted with the chat really well, and raised a good amount of money. So this year they're going to be even more ambitious with their goals. So I just kind of wanted to take advantage of this podium that I'm standing on now to tell people about it. If you guys are interested in supporting the cause, you can tune in to my friend Scott at Scones McJones, and his friend will be Game Junkie 89, Junkie spelled with a Y at the end. And I'll probably tweet this out as well, so that you can actually click links instead of trying to dictate what I'm saying.
So that's November 17th through the 18th.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what time they're going to start on the 17th, but you could tune in at any point, like past probably like 10 a.m. Central Time, and they'll be deep in it.
Very cool. Very
go
cool.
check that out. Support a great gamer. Start doing a great cause.
Yeah. Oh, and they have giveaways too. If you donate like a certain amount of money, like $5 or $10, you'll be eligible to win prizes. So there's a little bit of of more selfish reason to give as well. So
Hell yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Goobz, do we want to plug our stuff real quick and then get the hell out of here?
Well, let's just plug our main show right now. Everyone knows what the hell else we do and everything else.
Okay, well, you can find our show on Instagram and Twitter at Secret Levels Pod, and we are on Facebook. We have a page. We also have a group called Secret Levels Group. You can join in, talk about video games and all kinds of other fun, silly willy stuff. And if you wanted a nice piece of merchandise, Goobz, where could you go?
You can go to tpublic.com/user/secretlevels podcast.
Hey, and you guys have a TeePublic store as well, right?
We do.
You go to tpublic.com/user/IGgamers.
I think
Am I
it's
right?
What it is?
the
I think
Interstate Gamers now.
I think it's the Interstate Gamers.
Shit.
True fans would know, Goobz. True fans would know.
I don't even know my own.
It took him so long to learn that. Like, it was probably like 10 episodes of him butchering it before he finally
I got the
it stuck with him.
Derailers one. I got this one. I got that one. I got the...
Yeah.
Busy, man.
See, I don't think it's worth it to... I'm kind of an anti-URL person now, because I feel like with most things, you can just fucking Google it, so... So really,
That's right.
you could everyone could shave 10 minutes off their podcast by saying, just fucking Google it. And you'd find us.
Yeah.
Don't tempt me. I'm going to do that next time.
Oh shit! Well, that's a perfect way to end it. Just Google everything. And guys, thank you for coming on and bullshitting with us and taking part in this experiment of rating the same game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
an
fun.
absolute
We
blast,
definitely
man.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
Good to meet
So-
you, good sirs. Kudos.
Yeah. Good to meet you too.
Yeah, same.
I just bowed to my microphone.
I will do the same thing. Here we go, and it's done.
podcast is part of the Some Buddies Network. You're never alone when you've got some buddies.